Hey everyone, it's Joss here. In today's video, I wanted to talk about anger management and how to deal with triggers and things that provoke us. This video is inspired by an article that I read in Psychology Today that was entitled "Everyday Triggers: What Sets You Off, How to Deal with Them." So I'll link the article below in the description. So if you're interested to know more, check it out. As many of you may know, I'm a social worker. I do addiction counseling, I do therapy, I do anger management sessions. And so like anger and dealing with that emotion specifically is something I'm quite familiar with. And hopefully today I can give you some information that's going to help you deal with your specific triggers and give you some ideas on how to handle your emotions and some moves that could help like de-escalate that feeling, because nobody wants to be pissed off all day. It's not a good feeling and it's not something you have to deal with. So if you are interested to know more, just follow along with the video. Hopefully I'll share some useful tips with you. In a context of anger management, when you think of triggers, you really think of things that provoke you, things that increase your negative emotions, things that have a chance of derailing your day. And that's the thing with anger problems. Like anger is normal. We all have anger. It becomes a problem when you just can't unhook yourself from whatever has aggravated you. When it sticks with you for hours afterwards and you feel like you can't shake it off, that's when anger really becomes a problem. Many things have the potential to trigger us and trigger our anger. You can think here of like everything that's provoking. And in general, like there are some different categories that are triggering to us. You can think of being treated disrespectfully or unfairly. Some things are just frustrating, or we may be irritable. The last category of things that are provoking are the annoying traits of others. So when people do things that are very bothersome to us. In general, when people feel like they've been treated rudely, that's also a giant trigger. And I guess that falls under the category of the annoying traits of others. What happens when you have an incident where somebody was rude with you is it really sets off your alarm. And for a lot of people, it becomes very difficult to not get like hooked or anchored on a negative experience that they've had. Maybe somebody cuts you off in traffic in the morning, and 2 hours after you're sitting at work and you still can't believe how they dared to do that, or how they put your safety at risk or something like that. And so it becomes a ruminating thought, something that you can't stop thinking about. And there are a lot of mental tricks, things that you can do that can help you move past this and shake it off, so to speak. When it comes to managing like your emotions, you can almost think of it as a ladder. As far as like a ladder on one side and a thermometer on the other side. So the more your emotions are ramped up, obviously, the higher intensity you're going to have to do something to bring those emotions down. And simple stuff can be, trying to take a deep breath and refocus on what you're trying to do in that moment. So just ground yourself and be present and engage with the task that's in front of you. And for some people, maybe that's going to be a good enough distraction that they can stop focusing so much on the incident that has been the trigger. Another example that can work sometimes is like perspective taking. So it'd be to almost like make excuses for the other person's rude behavior, which in turns it's not really for them, but it's for you. If you think like somebody cut me off in traffic, but maybe they didn't see me. Well, maybe that can have a deflating impact on your emotions and let people off the hook, and that can be better. Another way to think of perspective taking is like, okay, this person was rude to me. I wonder what might have happened with this person this morning so that they behave this way with me. And so it's like to make it like not personal, and to make it like not something necessarily that happened to you, or it's not about you, but it's about them. And with this, maybe you use like some compassion, some empathy, not so much so that you treat that one person better, but more so that you can carry on with your own day and your own life, so that this doesn't keep bothering you for the minutes and hours that are to come. Basically, like when you're angry, you are going to have some like urges or some things that your body automatically wants to do. So perhaps like you're angry, somebody again cuts you off in traffic, and you want to blare the horn, maybe yell at them, maybe give him the finger or something. And that's, you know, not the greatest move, but it's very natural for us to want to lash out when we're angry. But doing so tends to like just elevate our anger. And if you keep focusing on it and plotting your revenge or trying to figure out how you can get back to that person, that really just makes you more angry, and it lengthens the duration of your feelings of anger, and overall, like, that ends up being bad for you. A trick that has been effective for a lot of people is called opposite action. So opposite action would be pretty like self-explanatory, but in a sense, it's like, you know, instead of somebody cut you off in traffic and you try to follow them and you tailgate them, and you know, you end up driving more aggressively yourself. Instead of doing that, do the opposite. You know, if somebody cuts you off, can you be on the lookout to, you know, let the next guy pass by, or can you slow down instead of speeding up? Can you can you be nicer because somebody wronged you? And obviously that can be a challenge, but by doing positive actions, by being the kind of person you want to be, instead of like getting sucked in by the aggravation, rudeness of other people, I think like that does help to calm down your emotion. And so opposite action is definitely a good move to make. Like, when it comes to the goal of managing your anger, like what does it really mean? And for a lot of people, it means to develop a skill so that they can be less reactive. You know, you don't want to be on defense all the time. You don't want for people to be able to do a behavior and that's going to dictate what you do. You want to be non-reactive. You want to be stoic. You want to be in control, basically, of your emotion. And for that, you require a specific skill set.
Are a very particular set of skills.
One of the skills that can be used here is to work on your self-talk, kind of the inner dialogue that you're having with yourself. And obviously, like, when we're triggered, sometimes, like I said, we may go automatically towards like, how do I get back to this person, or you know, how do I get revenge on this action? But really, if you can have a self-talk that's good at like calming you down, and in order to do that, sometimes it's like either like positive self-affirmation, maybe some catchphrase that you use. So you'll see sometimes people use catchphrase like, you know, this too shall pass. It's all right. It doesn't matter. Everything's going to be okay. This anger won't last forever. I have a lot other things to be grateful for. These kind of like thinking trails can be very helpful for you to de-escalate your emotion and in terms kind of make you less reactive. Something that has been very popular in the whole mental health addiction world as of whatever the last 10, 15 years has been the mindfulness movement. And mindfulness is really all about being present, grounded in the moment. Basically not living in the future, not living in the past. And in order to do that, to ground yourself, a lot of time people use breathing techniques that help them focus on one thing only, which is, you know, their lungs and their physical sensations. And other mindfulness tricks will use all your other senses, like, you know, really paying attention to what you're listening to, or trying to notice things on purpose with your eyes, or perhaps like chewing a piece of gum and really like paying attention to the sensations that you're feeling. And that can help people, like, bring people in the here and now, which can have a tremendous impact on managing their emotions. In order to develop a greater sense of mindfulness or a better mindfulness ability, people have been using pretty old school techniques. Really, if people are practice yoga regularly, they are more likely to be good at mindfulness. If you practice breathing techniques, like different meditations, like visualization, progressive muscle relaxation, all these things can help you become more mindful, in terms less reactive. And at the end of the day, it's like a skill that helps you calm down, which is, you know, very useful if you're hoping to manage your emotions. Something similar that they stated in the article, similar to the serenity prayer, right? Give me the power to accept the things I can't change, acknowledge my feelings, but also focus on like constructive actions, right? Give me the power to change the things I can't. And this is like a very helpful mindset to adopt. And if you're thinking about this, right, in this situation, what's something constructive I could do that would help the situation? You now find yourself in a good place mentally, and more likely to handle your emotion in a more productive manner. The reality is, we're all going to get angry at some point in the future. Maybe not today, maybe not this week. Well, probably this week or this month, 100%, right? So the goal is not to never be angry. The goal is more to have a plan for next time that you get angry. And that's obviously more true for people that have like a pattern of problems with their anger. But because we're all going to get angry, it's not a bad thing to plan ahead and think of, okay, well, next time I will be angry. What are some things or some constructive ways that I could handle this emotion? And if you plan ahead, maybe what you can do, like I said before, is like on a ladder, you think of like, okay, well, if I'm a little angry, I could do this. If I'm a little bit more angry, maybe I could do this. And so forth, where you're like, okay, well, if I'm 10 out of 10 angry, what's going to be my move? And obviously, as the intensity of your emotion go up, the intensity of your interventions need to go up. So let's just, for the fun of it, like create a small anger management coping ladder. So if it's something very mild, again, that's where probably your positive affirmation or self-talk or take a breath, those things are most likely to work at that point. Maybe even like the tactile mindfulness activities or exercise, such as like, do you have a piece of gum that you can chew on and really pay attention to like the sensations in your mouth and the taste of it and where it is and the feeling when you breathe in that cold mint fresh air and whatnot. But like the deeper and the more focused you become on this, the harder it is for you to stay focused on the thing that was triggering. And with this exercise, sometimes you can let go of that rumination, which can help you de-escalate. But again, the more intense your emotion, the more intense your solution needs to be. And so if we move from like taking a breath, maybe we could listen to some music. Maybe we could go for a walk outside, or even just to the bathroom and come back, right? Take a bathroom break, and maybe that's something that could be helpful. The more you combine these things, the better chance they have of working out. When you think of anger, though, really what it does is like the more angry you are, the more you're tapping into your fight or flight instincts. And so as you get more and more angry, maybe it's time to get more and more physical. And so for people, like again, going for a walk or a jog or maybe an actual like workout session, that could do a whole lot of good to express your anger or kind of like give it an outlet so that it doesn't eat you from the inside. And I said to a guy this week, I said, like, if you are angry now, but you went for a 1 hour CrossFit workout, I'd be very curious to test you out after an hour of, working your ass off, trying to see like, okay, well, what did that do? Because that energy that serves to make you angry and make you anxious, it's the same energy you're going to put out to lift some weights or run a mile or whatever you're going to do. And so after a while, like there's only so much of that energy. And if you manage to like burn it off through some intense physical activity, like there's not going to be a whole lot left there for you to remain angry. It's good too to think of it as like it will pass, because when your anger starts, you get triggered, it starts and it's going to climb. But that can't be sustained forever. Like very rare are the people that can stay angry for a day or 2 days, or if you're angry, you're angry, like that energy that's going to end up burning off after some time. And so you will see a natural like coming and going of that anger. And really when you think of managing it, it's like, what are you going to do in that time frame? And is there something that you could do that would like make your anger peak slightly lower, or that would like make it go through a bit faster? I think those are some good options. You can think of anything that would touch your body as well. So whether it be like splashing cold water on your face, taking a hot bath or a hot shower, getting a massage, like things like that, they are all elements of mindfulness. They all have a likelihood of helping you cope with that situation. And those can all be very helpful. And here, as you see, like we're not so focused on the whole idea of like solve the problems that are making you angry, because some problems are unsolvable. What I mean by this is like, you come across a rude waitress, or somebody cuts you in line, and it's like, it's not something that you can plan ahead so that it never happens again. So it's not so much about solving that problem as much as how do you deal with yourself when these things are happening? Getting back to our ladder is really lower intensity stuff, is more stuff that you can do, sitting at a desk, like breathing, like thinking, like meditating, like all these things can be done kind of, short, like in a short amount of time, or they can be done quite discreetly. As you ramp up the intensity of it, uh, you can't always go and take a warm bath for an hour. But if you're in a crisis and you really need it, or if your day was particularly aggravating and you're looking to come down from that feeling of anger, to do something more intense like that could definitely be worth it. So I wonder if you guys have other tricks that you guys use, whether you're more into sports or more into art. There's distraction tools, there's soothing tools. I wonder what you guys use to de-escalate your anger when it's happening. If you care to share in the comments, I'd be very curious to read what your strategies are. Hopefully this was helpful and it's going to help you manage your anger when it happens in the future. All right, take care and catch you in the next one, guys. Bye.